Now I'm going to finish up 951B, and I'm going to take a look at the following details. Okay? First up, they ask, just to go back to part A, to write the inequality for the solution of our number line. Basically, it's just inequality between these 2 points. Between those 2 points is when I'm hidden, so we might be able to say something along the lines of 0.78 is less than x is less than 3.22. Depending on how you interpret it, you could argue that, hey, they should have equal signs underneath each other. I could kind of see the equal sign going either way. So it would be more the case of be consistent, make a clear argument. Okay. Now in part B, they ask something a little bit different. They ask for the max height. Now remember, our parabola has a max height wherever the vertex is. So I have 2 choices. I can take advantage of symmetry and use my x-intercepts. I can also rewrite my equation in vertex form. I'm going to show both. So if you use these values right here, which aren't x-intercepts, but we know they have to be symmetrical about our vertex. Because if I think about my parabola and crossing them, if I have 0.78 and I have 3.22, it must be that my vertex is halfway between those 2 points. So what I can do is I can take 3.22 and I can add 0.78 and divide that by 2. And when I do that, 3.22 plus 0.78 divided by 2, conveniently, that's just 2. This is telling me that at x equals 2, I'm going to reach my vertex. If I then take that 2 and plug it back into my equation, I get a y value of 64. So that's telling me that I have a max height of 64 feet when, let me slide up a little bit. Time is 2 seconds. I probably should have used t instead of x right there, so that's my apologies. When we're describing maximum minimums, sorry about that, it's great to be complete in your solution. Notice how I wrote out the entire sentence. That's a key detail right there. I didn't just say my max is 64. I told you what x value occurs when that maximum is reached. You want the full picture. Now, instead of just using those x values and symmetry, I could also convert into vertex form. So remember over here, I've got h of t. At the latest I have is equal to 2t squared minus 8t plus 5. Okay? I'm going to take parentheses around those opening terms. I've got to pull out a 2. So I've got 2 t squared minus 4t plus 5. Thinking about distributing that 2 back, 2 times 4 gives me 8. Negative 4 over 2 equals a negative 2. Negative 2 squared equals 4. So that means I need to add 4. Okay? And we've talked about this. I didn't really add 4 because I really added 2 times 4. So if I added 2 times 4, that's 8. So in order to balance it, I need to subtract 8. Okay? So if I put that all together and I factor this first part, I now have 2 t minus 2 squared, and then 5 minus 8 is minus 3. So now that I'm looking at this, I realize that that 4 plays a role. Because it's basically an a value. So that 4 that I divided by at the very beginning has an impact right now. Now what's interesting is, can I just throw the 4 back in? But I can't, because that's going to change what I needed to complete my square. So, fun little tidbit, because I'm getting on a side tangent. I'm going to cut this video short because I don't want to make it too long. This is incorrect. Okay, I'm going to see if I can explain this all, because I think it's kind of interesting. Our original equation was this right here, negative 16t squared plus 64t minus 40. This equation could only be divisible by 8 because we set it equal to 0. Otherwise, if it was a equal to y type equation, then I'm now changing it, okay? So what that means is when I came down here and I pulled the simpler version, this is not the same graph for very obvious reasons. These two right here are not the same graph. They do, however, cross the x-axis at the same point, which is why our solution for x, when we were setting it equal to 0, worked out. If I wanted to actually turn it into vertex form, where I could then pull the vertex from it like I did here, I couldn't use 2t squared minus 8t plus 5. I have to go back to the original, negative 16t squared plus 64t minus 40. Okay, so hopefully you found that helpful.